So are amplifiers officially dead and everybody's just moving on to digital platforms? And what do I really think of the Fortin Evil Pumpkin amplifier? Did I like it or did it not really work for me? And we're going to talk about boost Karens, one of my favorite subjects. And we're also going to take a look at the new Lyon pedal by Universal Audio. All that and more in today's Riffs and Responses. Let's get started. All right, guys, thanks for joining me for another episode of Riffs and Responses. This is where it's like a variety episode. I do some riffs. I might even do some quick gear demos or reviews. I also read and respond to questions and comments on the channel, and if some of the questions require an answer that is associated with a demo or some kind of shootout, I do those as well. So it's not just me reading and responding to things. I actually do, shootouts, examples. I'll give demonstrations on these videos to kind of prove my point or back up what I'm saying. And I've been getting a lot of comments from people saying that they enjoy this series very much, so I will continue doing that for you guys, and I'll try to evolve it as we go. So basically, let's just start with the first topic. Let's get the Lyon Pedal Demo done here. I'm just going to do a quick run through. It's not a really super deep type of product. I mean, it's a good product, especially if you love the classic plexi tones and stuff like that, like Eddie's Brown sound and stuff like that. And Universal Audio makes really good stuff. I have their aux box. They're just a really good company, and everything they make so far that I've tried has been top of the line. Now, I will say that this pedal is built well. I mean, when you pick it up, it's got some weight to it, you know. It's not some cheap feeling pedal. The knobs feel really good to turn. I mean, it feels like you're turning knobs on an amp. They even have the little grippy thingies on them. The switches are nice. They're not loose, you know, they're very tight. And I just like how they build their stuff. It's all really top of the line stuff. So I have it hooked up to my HX effects just for effects. I am pushing it with a overdrive that's built into the HX effects right now. I'm going to leave that on because that's just how I do things here. And I'm just going to do a quick demo of the pedal. Let's just dial in a good plexi tone and maybe do some riffs with it. So let's get started with that now. All right, so right out of the box, this thing sounds pretty freaking good, man. So you can pick your different cab sims here, or you can go direct with it, and you can also load in your own cab IRs as well. So you have 3 that it comes with, and you switch through those here. Hopefully my finger's not blocking the camera too much, but then over here, you get into the different cab sims that you can put in yourself. In other words, your own IRs, or run it out to a power section and real cab. So you can do that. So let me run through the different cab sims right now. I don't know what these are, but I'm just going to play them. So yeah, you can do that, and the switch goes up and down. It's like a toggle type thing. So we'll just stick with the first one just for this video. And then you also get, here you have 2 different ways you can use these knobs. So if you're on amp, it'll operate the bass, middle, and treble. And if you're on alternative, you're going to operate these things up here. Okay, you got presence, you have, I believe this is like room, and then over here you have the boost. So let's go ahead and dial in a tone and see what we have. You can adjust the gain levels here. So let's go back to amp and just dial this in and see what we can come up with. All right, these knobs are pretty subtle. But let's go ahead and go up to the alternative, you know, and just dial in some presence and whatnot, see what we can come up with. So there's the room there. Let's just mess around with that. All right, so I'm not a big room fan, so I'll just go ahead and turn that off. But yeah, it's pretty subtle regarding the tone stack, but that's kind of how plexis were. So let's go back down to amp. And so there's your brown sound pretty much, you know. And then with this button here, you can set up different presets and program those and then cycle through those as well. So yeah, pretty cool pedal. Very straightforward and simple, just how we like our amps, you know. So there's not a lot of calls to NASA required to operate this thing. So it's actually pretty cool. Let me do some riffs with it, and then we'll switch over to the lead side and see how that is, and then we'll move on to the rest of the episode. Well, like I said, if you like those classic Marshall plexi type tones, this does them really well. So let's switch over to the lead channel really quick and see what we have there. All right, that's already a little brighter. So let's just mess around with the tone stack and do some lead riffs. I like that better. It's actually a little tighter, and it's got a little more bite to it, so that one's actually pretty cool. Let's mess around with some riffs on this one, and I mean, I don't really see, well, let's hit the alternative dealio there and see what else we have. Yeah, that boost feature really adds a lot of fullness to it. I like that a lot. Yeah, and then the presence is nice too. So yeah, let's just leave it there. I think that was pretty easy. And that's one thing I really like about this. Like it's simple. Like there's no option paralysis with this pedal. It's like you go for a really good plexi tone. It's simple, just a couple of options for you, and they're all useful, handy ones. And in this case, I just dimed everything, which is what you did on those amps anyway. So it's very familiar to you. You know, if you want to take like a plexi tone with you and not have to do all this learning curve crap, you know, I mean, this is a really simple pedal to do it with. So let's do some leads and see how it sounds with the lead channel. Sounds great. So that about sums that up. I mean, if you're looking for a really cool plexi, Marshall-y, classic rock tone kind of pedal and you want to take it with you and not have to worry about lugging a heavy amp around, I think this pedal really does it justice. They do a really good job with it. So look them up, you know, and thanks for Motor City Guitar for allowing me to take this pedal home so I can demo it for you guys. There is an affiliate link in the description of this video right up at the top. It says get your Lyon pedal here and shop Motor City Guitar here, and click that link and they ship anywhere in the continental US. They're an amazing store. Get a great deal on a pedal while also helping me out and helping out a great store. So I would really appreciate that immensely. All right, so on with the video. Let's go over some comments here and see what we have. So let's start with Shevington67. He says, if you weren't going to use a boost pedal, what would be your top 3 picks for high gain amplifiers that get brutal all on their own? You know, that's a great question. Some people just, I don't know, for whatever reason, they just don't want to have to deal with a boost pedal. I love boost pedals. I think they're amazing. I love them. I have a bunch of them, and it's fun cycling through them and trying them out with different amplifiers and really sculpting my tone to my taste. But with respect, I totally understand why people don't like them. So to your question, which amplifiers would I suggest? At least 3 of them that wouldn't use a boost, that would get brutal without a boost pedal. The Red 7 Leviathan comes to mind, especially channel 2 on that. That gets pretty gnarly without a boost. It's a great amplifier, and you know, you can use one or not depending on your taste. You know, some amps are just mushy as hell, and if you don't use a boost pedal, it's like, ugh, you know, they just get really mushy sounding and they sound terrible. Dual Rex come to mind, and there's many others. But that's one that you could probably get away with. The other one you could get away with not using boost pedal is the EVH Stealth Red channel anyways. There are people that say they prefer the blue channel without the boost as well, but that's okay. The red channel, because of the Easter egg in there, is tight and brutal as hell. And you know, so get on the red channel and adjust the gain to taste, and then while you're on the red channel, adjust the channel the gain on the blue channel while you're in the red channel, and just crank that gain all the way up, and it tightens up the red channel very much, and it just sounds incredible. So try that. And then the EL34 version of the Stealth 100, also, it's got to be the 100 watt though, also has that same Easter egg, and will work great for you. So either one of those or the Red 7, and I know that's technically 3 amps, but you know, maybe even the Splun Nitro. It's pretty tight without a boost as well. So there's 3 options for you, and I hope that helps you out. All right, so this next comment is from my Engel SE Founders Edition video, and this is from Francisco Aguilar 6644, I think. He says, Engel SE sounds killer. I prefer the Savage, and by some strange reason, the EVH sounded not to the level. Generally, I feel the sound too oversaturated. Will be better to test amps without OD pedals with less gain, only a SM57 and starting at noon for EQ. This as a control. Many other YouTubers do it in this sense, and it gives valuable information as initial comparison point. Later, the comparison here made is also valid, let's say a custom setup. All right, so maybe there's a little bit of broken English there. I'm trying to make as much sense of this as I can. No disrespect, but I understand. English isn't everyone's language, so I'm just trying to put all this together. So basically what he's saying is I should not use overdrive pedals when I'm demoing amplifiers, and I should also just use an SM57 when I'm demoing amps and no other mics at all. Well, I 100% disagree with that, because the thing is I demo amplifiers without and with overdrive pedals for both parties. You know what I mean? So I always dial them in without the overdrive, or at least most of the time. I'll start off with the pedal off, dial in the amp, try to get it to sound as good as I can without the pedal, and then I'll engage the boost and dial in further from there, because I use a boost pedal, and that's how I do things. And I would say that probably 80% of metal players also use boost pedals, and they want to hear how it takes a pedal. So I do it for both sides. So again, I disagree with with respect, I disagree with your comment regarding that, because dialing in an amp only without a boost pedal it's kind of a narrow way of looking at it, because all the people that like using boost pedals are left out. And they're like, well, how does it take a boost? And then I got to go, oh, in the comment section, like, well, I guess it takes one pretty good. I want to prove that to you. And again, that's more familiar with me as well. Now, to your other comment with, regarding just using an SM57 to mic the cabs when when I'm demoing amps, I mean, I definitely very much disagree with that, with respect, because if you only mic a cab with an SM57, you're not going to get the full spectrum of sound that cab is delivering. That's why I pair it with the Royer 121. That is going to give you a full spectrum of sound that the cab is putting out. So I'm trying to demonstrate everything that the amp and cab combined are putting out. SM57's not going to do that. If you go to a professional studio, they're not going to mic your cab with just an SM57. They're going to mic it with sometimes several mics to get all of the tones and all the sounds that those speakers are delivering. I mean, most of the time when you go to the studio and you mic your cab, it looks like it's giving a press conference, And that's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to be like the other YouTubers. All respect to them. People watch my channel because I do things the way I do them. I don't want to sound like them, and I don't want them to sound like me. You're watching different channels to get other people's perspective on sometimes the same gear, and you want to hear how they make it sound. And that's what makes YouTube so much fun, is you have this variety of people out here doing things. And if we all did it exactly the same way, that would be boring as hell, and I don't want to do that. So I'm the channel that gives you the full spectrum of sound of amplifiers because of the way I mic them. I also give you cleans, I give you crunch channels like rhythms, and I also give you leads like I did earlier in the video. I give you a lot more than I think a lot of other channels do. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying that you get quite a variety here. And you get full mixes. So, and my mixes aren't just rhythms. There's rhythms, leads, sometimes there's cleans. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on. I use effects, I don't use effects. I show amps dry, with effects, without them, with a boost, without a boost. I do full dial-ins. I mean, I give you a lot here, and that's the way I'm going to keep it. I'm not trying to give you guys basic bitch demos here on this channel. I try to give you as much as I can, and I'm sure as hell ain't going to do the basic bitch mic technique. If other channels want to do that, that's fine. It's just not something that I do, and I'm not ragging on it by saying basic bitch. I know that sounds derogatory, but I just don't want to do that. I want to give you a full spectrum of sound, okay, so that you can make an educated decision when you're listening to the video. And like I said, if you want to hear amplifiers mic'd with an SM57, there's plenty of other channels doing that, I mean, but I just think I offer something different. I'm not saying it's better, but it's just a different perspective. And I hope that you stick around and watch more videos and maybe learn to appreciate that. I would welcome you here. I mean, I'd like to see you comment in further videos and, just see how I compare to other channels. Again, I'm not saying I'm better, I'm just different, and it's nice to have a different perspective from time to time. Okay, this next comment is from Marvin Martin 3438, and he said, dude, big heavy amps are dead. Modeling is the way to go. Just saying. And this is on my Engel SE Founders Edition video. I appreciate the comment, and it's something that has been in the back of my mind for a while now. It's like, yeah, I wonder if or when the digital platforms are going to take over the analog department and just kill amplifiers. So a couple weeks ago, I was talking to Marty at Motor City. He's the owner of Motor City, and I'm like, are you seeing any shift in sales? Like, is everybody pretty much going digital with you, or are you still selling a ton of amps? And he said, I outsell digital gear 10 to 1 here at the store. Like, if 10 people come in and buy a guitar thing, either a digital platform or an amplifier, 9 of them are walking out with an amp, and 1 of them's walking out with a digital platform. So amps are doing just fine. They're outselling digital stuff even today, 10 to 1, at least at that store. Maybe other stores, there might be some differences there, but I don't see any slowdown in the amp industry at all. I mean, there's a lot of new amp manufacturers and amp builders popping up everywhere, and they're making some incredible stuff, and a lot of the amps that I've been trying on the channel are amazing. So I don't see the amp industry going anywhere anytime soon. I think they've really upped their game and added more features and made stuff sound more modern, and they're constantly tweaking things and coming out with new versions. And the thing is I've literally seen more excitement about new amps as far as the demos are concerned than new digital platforms. You know, the digital stuff, the hype is really big at first and it just dies almost immediately because it's like, oh, it doesn't have this, or oh, it's not, you know, it doesn't have this, you know, editor or these features or whatever, and it just dies. But with amps, you know, I mean, the hype stays for a long time with them because they are what they are. They come fully loaded with everything that everyone's expected. There's no updates that we got to wait for. I mean, they just sound incredible out of the box, you know, or at least most of them do. You know, we all have different tastes, but so when a new amp hits the market, I mean, a lot of people are really excited about it, and I really don't see them going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, on my album Mixology, that by the way is linked below, I used all amps in that album, and we had a lot of fun recording the amps, and they just sound incredible. So the guitar tones on there are all real, and it just sounds amazing. So I'm really happy with the way my tones came out on the album. And when I record my next one, I'm using all real amps on that too. I just am, because it's nice to get that organic sound in recordings. And I just think the digital stuff is great. It's very convenient. I use it on my show all the time. There's times where I come down here and I want to do a live stream and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go with the Quad Cortex tonight, or I'm going to go with the Tone X or the Kemper or whatever. It's just easier, and sometimes I just want to keep the volume down for my co-host Carrie. You know, and it's simple. And a lot of times when I'm up in my living room, I practice with my my Spark, and that's a lot of fun to practice with as well. But if I mean business and I want to, you know, really get some awesome tones, I mean, I'm usually going to go for an amp. And occasionally, if I was to play out again, I would love to take an amp to a show. But most of the time, just for convenience sake, I'll bring a digital platform. But that doesn't mean I don't like amps anymore. So I want to see what your thoughts are. Give me your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think amps are dying and digital stuff is taking over? Or do you see a healthy market on both sides? Or whatever your thoughts are, I'm looking forward to reading those in the comment section. But again, just to put a bow on it, I think amps are doing well. The market's strong, and I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon. And thank God for that, because I love amplifiers. So now let me tell you what I really thought of the Fortin Evil Pumpkin. For the most part, I was pretty disappointed in the amplifier, to be honest with you. Like, very hyped amp, $4,000 amplifier, okay? Clean channel, good clean channel. Channel 2, decent, but there was nothing in that channel that stood out to me that was like, oh, this is so unique compared to all the amps on my shelves and all the amps I've ever played on this show. There was nothing very unique about it at all. It just was honestly kind of generic to my, you know, to my ears. And these are my opinions, so all you Fortin nut swingers, calm the hell down. You know, I'm just telling you what my opinion is. Okay, if you don't want to hear it, go play in your sandbox. You know, yeah, I just thought the Channel 2 was okay. I dialed it in best I could. Had the 2 gain knobs. I know some people gave me some crap about, oh, you should have done this and that with them. Look, man, it was an unboxing video and a first impressions. I didn't read the freaking manual. I didn't have time to. It was a very rushed video. But all that aside, I just thought that the channel was just okay. It wasn't amazing. It was just okay. You know, like I said, it didn't do anything that any of these amps on my shelves would do. In a way where it was like, oh, I got to have this because it's so unique. It was just okay. You know, get over it. You know, it's not a big deal. Then I got to channel 3, which is the channel that the amplifier is named for. And that was extremely disappointing. I mean, that is one of the worst sounding channels I've ever played on an amplifier in my life. I mean, honestly, it sounded terrible. It's just awful. And again, these are my opinions. To each their own, you know, but it just didn't work for me at all. It was noisy. The whole concept of that channel was just weird. If I would have sent an amp to anyone and it came back in that condition, I'd be freaking pissed, because it did not sound good at all. I hated it. Had this weird crackle and noise on top, and some people were like, oh, you probably had digital clipping. No, I didn't. My interface is right there. I could see if it's turning red. It wasn't turning red. It was green the whole time, not even yellow. So There was no clipping or nothing. It was just noisy shit coming from that channel. So to sum up, great clean channel. It was really good. Channel 2, nothing special. I know it had the sweep knob on it. Whatever. Nice gimmick. It doesn't really do anything for me. Don't really care. And then Channel 3, in my opinion, to my ears and to my hands, trash. I would never play that channel, ever. It was a horrible channel. It just sounded weird. And there are better options. If you got $4,000 burning a hole in your pocket, buy a Mesobarba. There's nothing about that amplifier that people don't like. Nothing about it that's not good. It's all good. All 3 channels are amazing. It's got the negative feedback knob in the back to really fine-tune your tone. Now there's a sweep knob that I can get behind. It's not a gimmick. It's not some stupid knob that takes the culmination of your tone stack and then does weird shit with it for no reason other than, hey, I got a weird knobby thingy on my amp. Buy it, you know? So the negative feedback knob is actually something that's understandable and useful and does a really good job with just adding some bite or softness to your tone depending on where you turn it. Impeccable build on the Mesobarba 2. Impeccable. These things are freaking Ferraris, man. Amazing amplifiers. So if you got $4,000 burning a hole in your pocket, get that. Has MIDI, it's programmable, 3 perfectly amazing channels. There you go. That's what I would get. Or get the Diesel Herbert. Great amp, you know. All 3 channels are amazing. Red 7 Leviathan, I mean, I know it's less than 4,000, but or shit, speaking of less than $4,000, get a Rev Generator Mark III. You have the 2 notes tech built in and it sounds good. You have 4 awesome channels. The purple and red channels are insane. They're like freaking amazing channels and there's no weirdness in the amplifier. It all sounds good. It's feature packed. Awesome stuff, and you know, Rev builds them themselves. It's just, you know, if you got that kind of money laying around, get an amplifier that has useful features, not a bunch of gimmicks on it that make it sound weird or just make it even more complicated to dial in. That's just my opinion on it. I'm not taking a crap all over Fortin's amp. It just doesn't make sense to me, and you know, for $4,000, I would expect something that isn't weird, has you know, fully dedicated EQs for each channel, and has 3 usable channels. You know, not 2 good channels in a science experiment gone wrong. That's channel 3, and like I said, there should be something special about the tone, and there wasn't. There just wasn't. You know, the KK channel, it sounded good, but it's not something that's going to make me pull my wallet out and yank out $4,000. Hell freaking no. So save your money, get something different. I'm not saying don't buy the amp, but I'm just setting some expectations for you that I think are realistic. I mean, if you want it, you want to hop on the hype train and get one of those, go ahead. But you're going to find out that it doesn't do anything special compared to the amplifiers that you already have, except for the couple of gimmicky knobs that are on it that I found kind of useless and pointless, in my opinion. Okay, last comment. This is from Devlin Edwards 7543, and I'm going to read this verbatim. He says, should never need a pedal for an amp to sound good. It means the amp is garbage. That's coming from a 48-year-old guy who toured 20 years ago in a known band. I used nothing but PV Ultra Plus, never needed any pedals to make it sound good. All right, well, there's our boost, Karen. So basically, the only context I have is he toured in a known band 20 years ago, and he's 48 years old. So the context doesn't really help me there. I don't care if you toured in a band. That doesn't mean anything to me. What kind of music did you play? You know, what riffs did you play? Did you play really basic stuff that didn't require an amplifier to be tight, responsive, or anything like that? Or you were just playing chords and stuff? I mean, nothing wrong with those things, but there's a reason why we boost our amps. It just depends on the types of riffs that you're playing. So I love it when people just read me their resume Oh, I was in a known band and I toured. How long did you tour? Like 6 months? I mean, there's local idiots around here that think they're on tour and they went to one other state and came back and did 3 shows. Yeah, we just got back from our tour. I'm like, that's not a tour. That's a road trip, dumbass, you know? So what's a tour, first of all? How long did you tour? Did you tour for years? And what was the name of your band? I mean, if it's that known, I mean, you think you'd put that on your resume as well. And let everybody know, and so that I can get some context as far as what kind of music you played or whatnot. So that would have helped me. So all that matters to me is if you don't use a boost pedal and you don't prefer one, what style of music do you play? Let's hear you play, and then that'll help us all understand why you're saying what you're saying. Context matters, you know. So I use one, and it's not because I suck, and it's not because my amps suck. You know, there's a lot of companies here that make amplifiers and boost pedals. Red 7's one of them. Here's their boost pedal. I guess their amps are crap, huh? Because they had to make a boost pedal for it. Friedman, he makes boost pedals. He's got like 3 or 4 of them. I guess his amps are all garbage too. You know, I mean, there's... It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why people make statements like that. I call them boost Karens, you know. So you're a boost Karen, dude. I mean, don't come on here and say crap like that and not give any context at all. And most of the time when people say I don't need a boost pedal, I say, play something for me. And then that explains everything right there, because they're just 3-chord Johnny, you know. That's why you don't use one, because you don't need one. You're like a soccer mom that yells at race car drivers. Well, I don't need fairings and I don't need all that fancy stuff on my car. It's like, well, yeah, stupid. You're just dropping kids off at school and going grocery shopping. You're not going around a track at 200 miles an hour, you know, surrounded by a bunch of other cars. I mean, stop virtue signaling about why you don't need a boost pedal and just let people who use them enjoy that, and we'll just let you who don't enjoy that, you know. I mean, why do we always have to rip on each other for the type of gear that we use? All that matters is context. How are you using it? What type of riffs are you playing? And just leave people alone. Let them enjoy their stuff, you know. So anyways, I just thought that was kind of funny. You know, I'm not offended or anything by that. I just think it's kind of funny when I see comments like that, because, and the reason why I shine a light on that is not to, you know, shit all over this guy, but it's to shit on the concept, because I don't want people that are watching this channel, watching these things, feel like, well, I don't know if I should use a boost pedal or not, and being shamed away from something that would really enhance their playing and help them enjoy the playing experience more and give them the tone and response that they're looking for. You know, so don't miss out on those things. Try things. There's nothing wrong with trying stuff. Try stuff out, see if you like it. If you like it, great. If you don't, great. You know, whatever works for you. There's no rules, you know. And these boost Karens run around and try to like create these rules and like, you know, like freaking hall monitors, you know, and oh, you shouldn't use one and you shouldn't have to and blah, blah, blah. Shut up, you know. Let people just enjoy their stuff. So if you're watching this and you're on the fence of whether or not you should try a boost pedal, go try one. If you like it, then keep using it. If you don't, then don't. But I would suggest trying at least 3 or 5 pedals with your amplifier. Start with the tone in the middle, the gain all the way down, and the volume or level all the way up, and then just tweak your amp from there and just move the knobs around subtly on the pedal and just see what works best for you and then proceed accordingly. Well, guys, that about wraps it up for this episode of Riffs and Responses. I hope you enjoyed it. A couple of things real quick. My Mixology album is still available on the website. I appreciate everybody who's purchased it and who are still purchasing it. Thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying the album. And I also just released my Quad Cortex MT100 preset and capture pack. That's also on the website, linked below. Get those if you have a Quad Cortex. I'm sure you're going to like them. I played those well, it was the last night when we were live, and they sound amazing. There's a whole preset in there with 6 snapshots or whatever you want to call it for cleans and rhythms and leads and all that kind of stuff. And in that preset is a capture of the Oddbox pedal, which is one of my favorite overdrives. And you also get several DI In other words, amp-only captures along with studio ones where I use the cab, the Mesa 212 cab with the Royer and the Shure SM57 mics on it. Those sound brutal as hell and amazing. And I captured all 3 channels on the amplifier, so with DI and studio capture. So you have your pick of whatever you want. Anyways, well, that wraps it up for today. Thanks again for watching. To all my Patreon supporters and subscribers, thank you very much. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, please do, and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I either go live or come out with another episode. I got a lot more stuff coming up for you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.